I swear I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm not being a 12-year-old. I swear. Nope. Welcome to Dirt Sweat Gears and the hopeless descent into the money pit. We are here at my Garage and EDU project, and it seems like as we get closer and closer to the finish line, we bleed more and more money. It is now to the point where I have to really be conservative and to choose carefully what I pay to have done and what I do myself. And I've already made a few mistakes in that regard. Now in this video, our goal is to at least begin laying floor, but we can't really do that until we get paint on the walls and at least the majority of our painting done. I'm expecting to have some touch-ups to do along the way or even after I lay floor, but laying floor is the goal here. Let's pick up the camera and I'll show you what we've done so far and what we have left to do. So we're here in the second story. We've got this giant vanity that still needs to be moved into the bathroom, and that is my biggest impediment for being able to lay floor. That said, once I get paint on these walls, I can lay floor in this entire section here, and that would be an absolute game changer because then I could move furniture up from my mini garage and clear up space that I really need for stuff and for doing work. So I can get that done in this video, we're gonna be in really good shape. Ideally, I would like to get the whole floor done, but we'll see how that goes. I am, kind of relying on my contractor to move that because I don't want to, but if I have to move it, I will. He has today to do that. If he doesn't do that today, I'm taking matters into my own hands. So the bathroom, we had to move the plumbing. I'm sure that's going to cost me $5,000. No, it's not going to cost me that much, but still, it's more money. It's more money out of my pocket. And then he is supposed to patch up this wall. Again, I'm giving him a chance. If he doesn't do it today, we're doing it ourselves. And then patch up behind that, and I'm going to roll paint. And actually, before he even gets here, I'm going to start doing the edge work on the corners around the walls here so that I can get started, so that once that's ready for me to roll, I could just roll and be done with it. I want this done so badly. You see, I have done a coat of prime on the door trim and the window trim, and while I was doing that, I noticed a lot of sanding wasn't done. So I paid $4,000 for that. And had I known, the unfortunate thing is I didn't ask him to cost it out before doing it. I should have insisted. Because had I known this was going to cost me $4,000, I would have said, no, I'm going to do it myself. Because while I would not have made it look as good, I would have saved a whole lot of money to the point where I would have been happy with the result, even though it wasn't quite as good. And even still, that said, even though I spent $4,000, I still got some shitty corners like that to deal with. I get to resolve that. So that's fun. That's what happens when you pay people to do things you can do yourself. You end up not happy, no matter what the result is. So he also did patch. He began patching. He needs to do one more patch coat here. Again, if he doesn't get to it today, I'm doing it because these walls are getting painted very, very soon. The ceiling. I rolled another coat on the ceiling, and it looks really, really good, except for later in the afternoon when the sun is out, because the sun is not out today. There's a little bit of uneven patchiness right around here, and then there's one more sliver right here. So there's a little bit of touch-up to do on the ceiling, but I did that at night, and it's a lot harder to see the color of the ceiling at night. So that was, expected. I knew that was going to happen. The walls, of course, are going to need probably 2 coats of real paint. So that's going to be a big deal. So since my contractor has insisted that I'm going to spend 5 days painting, and I'm determined to come in under that. I am already a half day in on the ceiling and the door and window trim. If I could come in under that, I prove him wrong, and that means I can start laying floor. A few other things that I need to deal with right here. I need to get out the sander and take care of these stupid uneven lines and possibly do some filling. That's also going to happen today. But what I'm focused on in this video is the bathroom. And then once I get the bathroom done, I'm going to do all the cuttings around this room. So, and then any kind of sanding, any kind of filling, anything that needs time, I'm going to make sure to get done as soon as possible so that I can come back to it and finish it up later on. So if I need to fill something and that filler needs to dry, I'm going to make sure to get that done today so that tomorrow I can continue on it. So let's get sanding. I got my palm sander. I was hand sanding, but some of these areas really just need a palm sand. It's going to go so much faster. So let's get going.
I clutched my hands and kneel down and pray, but all my words they sound the same. I tried to run to get away, but all I guess is nothing historic in the end. I open my eyes, I look down and see your eyes there looking at me. I tried to scream to lose my voice, but all I guess is nothing at all. I've been looking for something more than a sorry skills. Be right here with this in my hands, and nothing makes sense. I've been trying to fill my mind with different years, ambitions without you, ambitions without you. I see myself running out of breath. My heart is broken, my soul.
So that was pretty quick. I mean, what was that? 2-3 minutes? Well, anyway, it was 2-3 minutes for you. It was about an hour for me. But that was still much faster than hand sanding. Are you kidding me? It would have taken me 5 days to hand sand all this. So we got this done, and I'm really glad I laid primer, because laying primer allowed me to identify the high and low spots, and that made it a whole lot easier to know if I was done sanding. So a few of these sticks splintered really badly, and I may have to do some filling, but my goal from here on out is to get this as far as it can be gotten without doing touch-ups. And then we're going to do a round of touch-ups on everything all in one go. So the next step here is to start painting the walls. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to recharge the batteries on my camera, and then we'll be out to paint the walls.
I think of you on the place you took. I call your name, you'll hear my request. I just don't get up the pain I feel. Nothing lives forever, nothing I fear. I just don't mind of the place I've come. Touch the sky and lose control. I've been looking for something more than a sorry skills. To be right here with this in my hands, nothing makes sense. I've been trying to fill my mind with different views, visions without you, visions without you.
So before my battery dies, I think it'd be really fun to show you my process, because, you know, every painter has different methods, but this was actually taught to me by my contractor not too long ago, and it seems to be working out really well. So the idea here is I've got a 3/4 inch roller here, and I'm just getting a lot of paint on the wall. And once the roller kind of peters out and, you know, stops giving a whole bunch of paint, I'm just going to load it up again and finish rolling up here. And then once I get to a certain point, I've got like, you know, a couple of rows rolled out. We're going to do one more. And we just go in a roll. We don't want to go in a circle. We don't want to go, you know, spread out too far because we don't want to overspread the paint because it'll shrink. And then once it shrinks, you get the little holidays and you have to paint again. So now that I've got a couple of rows done, I got about 3 rows. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to smooth everything out with kind of like not a full roller, but also not an empty roller. So the idea is I'm pulling the loop paint around to a nice spot where it'll settle in nice and level, and we won't have any high spots, and we also won't have any holidays. But again, the key here is to get a nice thick roller, get a lot of paint on there, and then move it around once it's on the wall. And like I said, it seems to be working out really well because I just got a significant patch of wall done in a very short amount of time. So let me get right back to it. I'm just going to keep working until the battery dies, and I'll see you on the other side. So if you guys are wondering why I'm so fired up about this, let me tell you a little bit of a story. In 2020, I paid someone to do this. He was a good friend of mine, and I gave him a lot of money to build this garage and ADU. And instead, he decided to buy himself a brand new truck and a new house and make his dream come true. 5 years later, I'm still fighting to make my dream come true, but today we are a huge step closer to making that happen, and I am so excited. And even better, my contractor came through for me and got this vanity in the bathroom, and we have some of the paper pulled up, and you can see this awesome checkerboard, and it just came out so beautifully. I am so happy with this. There's a couple of weird things about this. The first thing is that the light fixture is just a little bit off to the right. There's really nothing we can do about it. It's because it lands right on the stud, so I'm just going to have to learn to live with it. The other thing that is a little bit weird, and I'm actually considering making a change, is this outlet is like directly above the faucet. That does not seem like a safe thing to me. It seems a little strange that it would be there and not like either over there or even on that wall. The other thing is that it's going to possibly get in the way of the mirror I wanted to put up. So I have to take some measurements, but I've got a mirror here. It's a really nice big size mirror, and I wanted to cut new molding around it and mount it up on the wall. I just have to take some measurements and see if it'll fit now with that, because it might not. And if it doesn't, well, we'll go from there. But this is awesome. I'm so happy with this. I might need to tilt that just a little bit to get it straight. I got to get the level up here in order to figure that out. In here, we do have a little bit of holiday in the paint. I saw it. Where did I see it? I think on this wall and a little bit on this wall here. So I'm going to have to go through this building and mark off the areas that need more attention. Definitely here. And that had a lot to do with the fact that I was running out of paint. So in here, I'm not really concerned about here because the washer and dryer go here, but I do have pride in my work and I want to be satisfied with it. But definitely out here, I've got to go around in all the places because pretty much every wall needs a little bit of touch up. Overall, it looks fantastic. It's just as you get close to some of the details, you're going to notice a little spot here and there. And that's because I couldn't really get the best coverage because there was stuff in the way. But now that the stuff is out of the way, oh my God, I have so much more room to work. I'm also going to move the toilet into the bathroom once I finish painting in there. And I don't know why dirt got in here. That's very strange. I don't have any plants, or I don't know. Very weird. But my contractor is gone for the next several days, so this is going to leave me all the time that I need to finish painting and to start laying floor. And that's our next step here is finish painting. I'm going to do the touch-ups today. I'm going to get started on the windows, and we're going to keep pressing forward and get as far as I can possibly get in the little time that I have. So that bugger right there, I almost use it for mixing paint, except when I put it on the countertop, I smelled something. And that's when I realized my contractor has been pissing in that bucket and throwing it off the side of the ledge here. So I decided to install the toilet. Since he is off on vacation, he's not going to be around for a while. I installed the toilet off camera because I've only really done it a couple of times before, so I kind of had to remember exactly what to do, and I really just needed the space. I needed the space and the peace of mind knowing that I could flail around and a camera wasn't pointed at me. So I went ahead and did it off camera, but before I turn on the water, I wanted to pick up and start rolling so that we can catch the moment of truth. So here's the main water into the building, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And I can hear water going up the building, but it doesn't sound like it's flowing anymore, so that's a good sign. Let's go up to the toilet. You see in our beautiful bathroom here, we've got a Gerber toilet, brand new, just installed it, and it looks like, well, the valve isn't leaking, so that's good. Let's see if the toilet leaks. One of the things that I ran into when I was installing the toilet is I had to pick it up again to make sure that I got the flange aligned correctly. So that may have broken the seal, and we may end up with a leak. But since this has obviously never been used, it might be okay. Let's turn it on to find out. Well, it's filling. I did have a couple of issues when I went to go flush it. Mainly, it was centered around the center ring in here was not correctly aligned. And so that meant that water came out the sides and, down on the floor. So I had to take the tank off again, reseat it, get it set back down. And I think we're good as far as that's concerned. But I think we're sealed. I don't think we're losing water anymore, but there is a problem when I turn the water on. This toilet's full. It's supposed to be off, and I'm pushing this thing all the way up, and it's still running. So that tells me that this float is defective. So I'm going to have to go get a new one, but that's not a big deal. I'm not at all going to sweat that, especially not tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and do that in the next couple of days. In the meantime, I'm just going to shut the water off, and we're going to leave it the way it is. So once all of the little residual water droplets dry up, we're going to give this another flush and see if we lose any water. Well, it's about 9:30 p.m. and I finally, mostly, sort of finished painting the trim around all these windows and doors. Some of it's still wet. Some of it needs to be done again. Some of it I have to decide if I'm going to live with. But for now, I think we are ready to lay floor. And since I promised myself I would start laying floor today, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Even though it's 9:30 p.m., we're going to start laying floor. Let's see, where do I want it? There! I've started laying floor. Now I can go to bed. Well, I'd say when it comes to paint, I'm a real Michelangelo. Yeah, I'd say I'd paint just about as well as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. What, do you think I was talking about the Renaissance painter? I mean, this is taking as long and it's costing as much as the Sistine Chapel, but no, I think when it comes to paint, I have more in common with a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. So every panel here, every window has at least one panel that needs to be touched up. This one is probably the worst. This one needs the most Bondo body filling because you see how terrible the quality of the wood is. But other than that, there's some spots that either I didn't do or didn't do well enough, or just need a second coat. And it looks like I need to put blue tape here instead of white tape. That's why I'm using blue tape. So we've got quite a bit of touch up, but it's actually not that bad. It's probably an hour's worth of work, and thankfully I am out of this paint, and it is Thanksgiving Day, so I cannot possibly go out and get that more paint because Home Depot is closed. Thank God. And in the bathroom, I still need to do a second coat here and a lot of touch-ups on these door frames because the wood was absolutely trashed, and it just needs a lot more work to make it look good. And since we're going to spend a lot of time in here, this is going to be something that we see a lot of. So we're going to move on with laying floor. We could circle back to these touch-ups once the floor is done because none of that is going to impede the floor. So I wanted to get started on the floor off camera just so that I knew I had all of the tools to do this job. And of course I had to run up and down stairs 4 or 5 times, but I think we are on track to get this all done. Now I made a little bit of a mistake when I was measuring this out. And so I'm going to have a little bit more room for filling there. It's an amateur mistake. But yeah, these door trims are going to suck to cut around. And I've got a few of them. So that's fun. But aside from that, this is going to go pretty smoothly, I believe. This is Forbo Marmoleum flooring. And I bought this because I actually used it in my rental house for the kitchen. And it was so easy to work with that all I had to do was just lay it down and give it a couple of taps with the rubber hammer around the edges so that it locked into the piece next to it. And that's it. It is really, really easy to work with. This is a great material. It's nice and thick, and it's backed with cork, and it is water resistant. You see there are little bits of rubber in there along the edges there. And this is just an incredible flooring. It's a little expensive, but if you're building it for yourself, it's well worth the money because I'm still saving money by installing it myself. So over here, we've got my contractor's saws. I'm definitely got to get myself a miter saw just like that. The table saw, and I wanted to use my multi-tool for precision cuts, but I don't have a good blade for it. I have to go get a blade tomorrow when the store is open. So for now, we're going to use my masonry cutoff wheel. It's not the right tool for the job. It's definitely not the right tool for the job, but it does cut, and it's going to get me through today. I'm done. Look at that. So the last run of floor was absolutely painful. In fact, I had to stop. Oh, I got a splinter in my ass. So the last run of flooring was absolutely awful because I had to cut a 2-inch strip at the very edge there in order to complete this thing. And, well, the saw blade on that table saw, it's done now, that's for sure. It had a hard time. But thankfully, I still have all my fingers. I did not go to the hospital, and I finished a lot earlier than I thought I would. So once I got to a certain point, I decided I need to just finish this, and I don't want to even know what time it is because I probably won't like the answer, but it is 7:15 right now. That's pretty good. That means I spent a day and a half laying this floor and just completely exceeded expectations. I mean, my contractor was telling me that I would still be painting by the time he got back. So far, I have finished painting. Still have some touch-ups, so there's an asterisk there. But I've also installed a toilet, and I've installed all of the flooring in this building, and I've started to lay baseboards. I've got 2 more days before he gets back. I think I could finish baseboards. I can completely finish all of the painting and all of the touch-ups, and I might be able to install my sink faucet. But we're not going to push our luck there. I'm kind of planning on not being able to finish it, but hey, if we have the time, I may as well give it a shot. But until then, I'm going to enjoy a beer, and I'm going to just enjoy the work that I did. I don't have to imagine it anymore. This is not a fantasy. And that is just the best feeling. This looks pretty damn good. So the baseboards are mostly done. Because we do not have the full island, I could not get a measurement to do that. And also, I made some mistakes that caused me to come up short to be able to do this run of cabinets over here. But once the island is in, I'm going to get plenty to do the rest. But for now, we've got plenty to do. Just a couple hours, we were able to get the main room, the closet, the washer and dryer area, and the bathroom all cut and ready to paint. So we're going to set up our sawhorses. We're going to label these and then drag them all downstairs to the sawhorses, and we're going to paint these down there. So I've been at this for about an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half, and it is going really, really well. I want to show you my process because we skipped the time lapse this time around. It just isn't very satisfying to watch someone paint baseboards. So we have our baseboards here. I have them all numbered so I know where they go back, and I'm down to my last few. And I wanted to show you this because I've got a really good rhythm. So again, these are pre-surfaced and pre-primered, so we could just go ahead and lay paint straight onto them. And the only unfortunate thing is they come with a little sticker on them. And if you really care about perfection, you're going to want to give this a little sand behind the sticker. I don't mind since they're just baseboards, but if you do mind, you'll want to hit this with a little bit of sandpaper. But I am going to just scrape them off with my razor blade. So when I was painting this thing, I started with the brush and I thought, man, there's got to be a faster way of getting paint on this. And so that's when I said, hey, I'll just use a roller and I'll back brush it. Because when you use a roller, you get kind of like a roller texture to it. And I wanted the brush texture to it. So it only made sense to just get paint on there and then brush it afterwards. So we're going to roll each side here. And this roller is not full. It's like, you know, maybe half full because I did not refill it before getting these corners here. I just wanted to avoid any unnecessary dripping. So we just run it down here. All right. Now we load it up. Load it up real good. And this is a 3/4 inch roller. And we're going to start in the middle and work our way out. That way we don't have any excess paint on one side or the other. It rolls out pretty evenly. And then I'm going to go over the sides here just in case I end up with exposed corners, which I shouldn't, but you just want to be safe. And roll it out all the way. And now while it's still wet, you get just a little bit of paint on your brush, and you brush it from one side to the next. And try to get nice, long, straight brush strokes. That's the best way that you're going to get the best texture out of this thing. And again, it's so fast that you'll be done before you know it. I got through maybe one album. I'm listening to Five Finger Death Punch now, but I got through Corrosion of Conformity. And in the time that it took to tell you about all that, this one's done. I can move on to the next one. So this is moving so fast that I'm running out of places to put the wood while it dries. But that's really a nice problem to have, to be honest. So we're going to clear a little bit more of this off. We're going to finish up these two pieces and give it a little bit of time to dry, probably an hour. We're going to go take a break. And once it's dry, we're going to bring it back upstairs and start installing it. So I've installed the baseboards, and I ended up installing them in most of the room, but not all of the room. So for one, I did not install them in the island because, as I probably mentioned already, we do not have the full island, so I can't make baseboards for it. And second, I started to do the baseboards along the cabinets. However, I realized that white painted baseboards against wood cabinets looks really, really weird. So I'm gonna hold off on that. I luckily didn't waste too much time. So I just need to pull off those two boards and redo them. I may try to match the wood color just with paint. But until then, that's a project for a different day. The next thing we want to do here is to begin our touch-ups and to caulk these baseboards. So for the touch-ups, I'm just going to use the same spackle that I use for all of the window trim and all that stuff. And then for our caulk, I grabbed some white caulk. I swear I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm not being a 12-year-old. I swear. And also, I'm probably going to bleep this because I'm pretty sure YouTube is not going to want me to say caulk this many times. So we're going to take our caulk and we're going to squeeze it in along the tops and the bottoms of the baseboards. And when you're squeezing your caulk, it's always a good idea to wipe it down with a damp rag. I swear there's no other way to explain this. Well, it's a new day. Last night, I finished off by squeezing caulk in all of the baseboards and in the windows so that everything looks nice and sealed up and professional. So today, I am going to get started on the final coat of touch-ups for all of the windows and baseboards so that I can be just completely done with this paint. I'm also, once I finish that, probably going to do the final touch-ups on the walls so I can take care of things like that. And then we're going to move on into the bathroom area. Well, I think this is as good a place as any to end this video. We got a lot of work done in a very short amount of time over the Thanksgiving holiday break. And with my contractor out of town, I had all of the freedom, all of the time, and all of the space to do everything that I wanted to do. And now that he was supposed to be back, and of course he isn't. So while I went to go do my real job, nothing got done up here. So there's still plenty of work to do. We've got some touch-ups, we got some Ethernet work to do, we've got some things left in the bathroom, but that can wait for a future video. In the meantime, well, if my contractor's not gonna be here, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna work on the sink. I'm going to do everything that I can do to bring as much functionality to this building as possible. And then once I get Ethernet in here, I'm going to move my office in. There's no reason to wait on that just because I don't have countertops, just because I don't have the island completed or any of that stuff. this is an amazing amount of progress. It's such a short amount of time, and it is very, very refreshing to do. One day about a year and a half ago, I was working on my dad's house after he passed away. And at some point, I said to myself, I probably said it out loud, someday, I'm going to get to work on one of my projects with this level of intensity. And I got to experience that. And it was amazing. I am really happy with all of the work that I put into this building. And the outcome is just, it's mind-blowing. It is really something that I can be proud of. So that's it for now. As always, if you like what you see, like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you don't like what you see, maybe you think I should just take it easy and relax a little bit. Leave a comment anyway, because I want to hear from you. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.